For the filming of Space Invaders in real life, I shot everything on the Canon 5D Mark II, with the exception of, I think it was 2 shots of the outside of the building, which were shot on the Sony EX1. A lot of people were wondering how I was able to get such good tracks with all the shaky footage. Well, what I did was, with all of these shots on the Canon 5D, I put it on a tripod. So the camera wasn't even shaking. And then afterwards, I got these 2 tracking markers and I shot them with my Canon 5D. And then in After Effects, I tracked them to a null. And then I parented all the footage to that null object so that you get realistic camera shake. So that's why the tracks look so good. And the only shots I actually had to track for effects, I think it was 3 shots. So there really wasn't a lot of work that had to be done there. The effects were done in Blender and After Effects. In Blender, I would put the different objects in different layers so I could render them out separately. So I would have, for example, one movement of the objects, then another movement, and I would have the main ship at the bottom right there that'd be rendered out on its own layer, the little bullets, etc. And so that's how that worked in Blender. Everything was modeled using individual cubes. It did take a little bit of time because I made sure that everything was lined up perfectly, all the little cubes right here. I'm sure there's some sort of cube generating thing out there that could have made the process a little faster, but that's how I did it. One thing that I'm a little proud of is the reflections in the sunglasses. Initially I was not going to do that effect as it was a little time consuming, but I eventually decided to take the time and do it, and I'm glad I did. The hardest part was doing the rotoscope, but that was pretty easy because the glasses stay the same shape, although they do move around as far as perspective. I did track the outward sunglasses to make the rotoscoping a little easier. Then I also had to track in the objects that are inside the glasses for the little objects, the reflections to stick to. And then here is the rotoscope mask I used to keep those reflections within the glasses. The general breakdown for the shot is I had my lens flare, let's move some objects around here, I had my CG objects, and then I had my camera mask, and that's pretty much it. I didn't have super difficult effects in this short, which is nice because I was able to get it done pretty quickly. One thing I don't think people realize is that these shots right here where you see the zooming and such of the ships, those were all done without actually filming footage. What I did was I created a master image where I stitched 3 images together from one giant image, which if you see here, you can see how big that was. I realized later that I didn't actually need to stitch those together. I could have just shot one image, but I ended up having to stitch it because my main image was actually zoomed in. So I could have saved some work here, and if you zoom in, you'll see you can spot the seams. I don't see it. Oh yeah, there you go. You see the seam right there, but because the camera's moving so much and there's motion blur, you don't spot it in the actual short film. Or you might. I just don't remember seeing it. Okay, so what I did was I had my individual elements here. So let's try to find one. Okay, for example, I have my ships right there, and then I had my what do we have? We have the bullets and all of that, and I stuck all those individual elements together. I animated it as one giant image, and then I went in for the individual shot and just did some zooms and camera movements in After Effects. Then I added that camera shake to make it look a little more realistic. And then once you had motion blur and color graded, it actually looks pretty good. So this shot, this shot, and that shot were not filmed, but were done all in After Effects, basically. Another shot that was all on camera is this one at the very beginning with the ships and the Earth in the background, and that was done with just a still image of the Earth, and then I had the ships, and then the lens flare, and some camera shake, a little noise grain, and some motion blur, and it looked pretty good, I think. So I hope that gave you some insights into the making of this project, and gave you some ideas and creativity for use in your own projects. Thanks for watching.